Hey my thrifty friends, welcome back to my channel. Tabs here from the Urban Goddess shop. I just got off Poshfest 2022 State of the Union. There are some juicy details in here. We're gonna go over them. I'm gonna try not to laugh because some of them I think are like ridiculous, but some, are good. Okay, so let's start with Manish took us on like a roller coaster ride through the past, exactly how he normally does. Whatever, I'm down for it. Let's go through this. I kind of actually enjoy hearing all the things that they have changed and gone through. And yeah, I mean, it's whatever. It's history, right? He finally acknowledged that they effed with the algorithm and that they are reverting it back. He said he understands the negative impact it had on the community and on people's businesses, and they want to rectify or, try and help the community. He stated that they are changing the algorithm back like 6 months prior, so back to like February, March, starting this weekend. Like, if you're not as excited as I am, you need to be, because we are ready for sales to go back to how they were. I'll admit, sales have been like not bad for me the last couple weeks, but definitely not what they were 6 months ago. And I think this has been a change that has had a really negative impact on their app, on their business, on many people. And so many resellers are jumping ship. So many resellers are looking for other ways to make money, going onto other platforms, and are just done with the BS. You know what I mean? Like, we are done with the BS on Poshmark. If you cannot get your algorithm straight, if you cannot figure this out, then we're gonna go to other platforms where buyers can find our items. I'm happy he acknowledged it, finally, and that they're gonna go back. But I mean, I guess proof is in the pudding, right? I guess we'll see what happens over the next week. I always feel hesitant when big companies make these types of promises. Like I said, proof will be in the pudding. Let's revisit this in a couple weeks and see where the algorithm is at. In the comments, how excited are you that it's going back? Like, I could just like scream out loud right now. That was a big thing. He kind of like kicked it off with that. He did go down to the core values, which was keeping it simple, social, and fun. He said, lead with love. They try and make all their decisions based on leading with love, which whatever. He did state the fee structure hasn't changed in 10 years. And every time they state that, I'm like, dun, okay, like what is coming next? He didn't really allude to anything after that. But like, on another note, Manish, do you know that you have like some of the highest fees in all reselling platforms? Like, when you tout that you are like, you haven't touched your fee schedule because you've been the highest fee schedule for 10 years. So if you increase it anymore, resellers are going to leave. Like, let's be honest, if that's what they're planning, if this was like a preemptive, hey, stay tuned the rest of the weekend, I don't know, I'm out. Like, 20% is already super high. We're gonna keep moving along. Of course, through any of this, drop your comments below because I'm sure you guys are like reeling just like I am. He did talk about growth, and he said their design is to promote growth. And I was like, hey, I do see it. Like, they have made positive changes. I think Posh shows came out because their competitors are doing it. Like, Whatnot came out with it, eBay's come out with it, people are doing live selling on Instagram. I would not be surprised if like a whole nother live selling platform comes out that's similar to Whatnot, maybe more geared like eBay, where Whatnot I feel like was a little bit more of like a collectible space that added clothing in. Let's go into some Posh facts because he was kind of all over the place. If you watched it, I'm going to drop a link down below. This is the recording of it, but he was all over the place. It was kind of hard to follow, so I have notes just like randomly everywhere. Okay. Next were some Posh facts. He said there's 24 offers every second placed on Poshmark, and he's like, this is like the most active app. And I was like, I think eBay probably trumps that, but whatever, we'll give Manish that, whatever. He said there has been 7 billion sales in the last 10 years. So $7 billion in sales on Poshmark. Now they took 20% of that. You do the math. And yeah, that was kind of, there was a lot of fluff talk, so I didn't take notes on that. What I found interesting were people's comments. As I was listening, I was also trying to read people's comments. Someone talked about reducing seller fees. They said the real I guess if you're a volume seller and you sell, the more you sell on the RealReal, the less your fees are. I think this was a really good point. I think this would be a good promotion for people to sell more, is that if you're selling, like instead of doing Posh 1, Posh 2 ambassador, how about have like Posh 1, Posh 2 fee structures. So when you meet these requirements and maybe it's like a dollar amount of sales, you qualify for this fee structure. When you meet this point, you qualify for this fee structure. And I think that would promote more people to sell more on the app and also reward people that are putting in a lot of effort, because they're making a lot of money off of volume sellers, definitely. He then went on to talk about Posh shows. He acknowledged that shows may not be for everyone, but is recommending that you just try it. And I'm with that. You know what? I was like, I am not doing live shows. I am not doing Whatnot. And here I am with my clown face doing Whatnot shows. And they're actually not as bad as I thought they would be. I am excited for Posh shows. I am going to give them a shot. I don't know if it's going to be a regular part of my business model. I guess that's going to depend on how my items are selling, because the hard part is that they're also taking the 20% off of my Posh shows. So if I'm discounting things and people are getting really good deals on them, I have a struggle with that, knowing that I'm also going to be paying out 20% out of the heavy discount on the item. Yeah, I don't know how this is going to fit into my business model. I think it's still kind of early to start doing that. Some of the things that I saw in the comments though were the concerns about the dropping comp prices, that if these items are selling in a Posh show and they're going for like 70% off, this is going to affect comparative pricing when you start searching by solds. Someone also had an argument to that, saying, well, isn't it the same as people sending out 60% offers? And I agree. Like, I think there's 2 points to it. I don't know where I stand with it. I do wish that Posh shows sold prices were excluded from sold searching, because that's a totally different type of selling. And I also wish that when you sold a bundle, that those prices were omitted as well. I wish that bundle sales wouldn't show as a full price, that we would just be better to not show it as a sold, like show it up as like this item sold, but just put a cross through the mark. Like give us a notification, like a way for us to know that this was not sold as a single item. And it could be maybe like the list price, but put a line through it, and that would say like this was sold in a bundle. Like I think there's different ways for them to communicate. I am concerned about what sold prices are going to show up for once we all start doing these Posh shows and kind of clearing stuff out, right? He did state that live shows have been happening in other countries. It's just been really slow to come to North America. It hasn't been as successful until recently. And I actually heard this somewhere else, that across seas, they've been doing live shows for a couple of years and they're very, very successful over there. It was inevitable for those that are like, this is ruining the market. I think this has been happening other places. We're just slow to get on in North America. I don't think it's going to affect everyone's businesses. There's only going to be a select few people that are doing live shows. Not everyone is going to do live shows, just like not everyone is going to buy live shows. Personally, I do struggle to sit in a live show for a long period of time unless I know that there's quite a few items in the show that I want, or it's someone that I know personally and I'm just there to hang out. Yeah, there's like different aspects to it, but I'm not overly concerned that this is going to affect the rest of my business. I do think live shows is also going to bring in some more people into the app that are interested in learning about this, that maybe have heard about Poshmark, their friends are shopping on Poshmark. It's really early to say what's going to happen with Posh shows. So we can speculate, but you know what they say about worrying? Worrying is like the biggest waste of time, because you're worrying and putting time into something that hasn't even happened yet. I think we just got to sit tight with these Posh shows and see where they go. And this will be another thing that we can reevaluate in a couple months, discuss all the details on it. He did acknowledge that Posh shows are still growing and there is lots of room for improvement. So they are looking for feedback. They know that they have to work on this. They put it together really quick. He said they just started talking about it in July, and then all of a sudden they had this put together. That's something that we should keep in mind. Keep submitting your feedback. My kind of thoughts on this, what I hope Posh hits that Whatnot misses. I hope that Posh has more of a buyer base. So like customer versus reseller buyer base. I feel like right now Poshmark for me is more of a customer base. So I hope that plays into my favor. and into like all of our favorites, truthfully. They just have, it's a much bigger platform. I hope that because there's more users, that leads into my second point, that we see more success in those types of live shows. I have been doing live shows over on Whatnot, but it is more of a reseller buyer. It's not as much, you know, customer type buyers. Although I do think a lot of the buyers are resellers, but are also buying for personal use. Just, it's a different type of market. And then what I hope on Poshmark is that it's a higher price point. And to be truthful, it's going to have to be a higher price point for it to be successful, because they're taking that 20%. And then I think they have to work on their bundles. So I did the shipping for my Whatnot show yesterday, and I did 51 items in 2 hours, which I thought was very reasonable. Actually, it was like less than 2 hours, because we FaceTimed my father-in-law for a little bit just to chat with him before the weekend. But I am enjoying the Whatnot shipping. It's actually not that bad once I got a few processes in place. Okay, so moving along. Next, he talked about they want to launch secondhand Sundays. So it'd be similar to like Cyber Mondays, but I guess it would be secondhand Sundays. Maybe this is where you're doing deals. He wants to encourage people to shop secondhand for the holidays. So it's something they're going to be rolling out, I imagine, pretty soon up until Christmas. He said, you know, the retail market is so crazy during the holiday season, and a lot of stuff gets sold come January. Basically purchasing secondhand to give as gifts and hopefully getting, you know, quality, wholesome gifts, which I don't know where he was really going with it. That's kind of all he alluded to. I guess we'll see what they're trying to promote. He also said for us to let them know if they are doing things that do not promote growth together. And if I would have had a cup of coffee, I think I literally would have spit my coffee out and laughed, because I was like, Manish, what the frick do you think we've been doing for the last 6 months? Like, the microphone could not be any bigger. I'm trying not to be negative in this, because I do think there's a lot of positives in his State of the Union, but just some of the things he says, I'm just like, are you reading the room? Like, have you been listening to the community? Have you been watching any of the content that people are putting out through social media? People have been giving you feedback and telling you that you have not been promoting growth for the last 6 months. And it's really been about the business as Poshmark and a publicly traded and shareholder. Like, I think that a lot of the decisions they've been making have been based towards that. That is just my 2 cents. This is not like facts. Do not quote me, but I don't know. I don't think it's always about us, truthfully, but whatever. I don't work for Poshmark. I'm not an employee. I am just a reseller like you guys. All right. This is basically all he said. I invite you to watch the link if you want to see it, but I promise you this is all you're going to want to hear. Okay, guys, drop in the comments. What are your thoughts on this? Share everything. I do not care. I want to hear it all. I want to know what you guys think. All right. I appreciate all of your thoughtfulness, and we can all have different points of view. So I think that's what I value too, is that I like hearing everyone's points, right? So if you're in the comments, make sure to read a few and see what we're all chatting about. All right, I am out of here. I hope this brings you all the details from Poshfest, and let's keep our fingers crossed that this algorithm change actually goes back. All right. Thank you for watching. If you are not subscribed, make sure you tap that subscribe button so you get all the content. And as usual, I am wishing you guys all many sales. All right, see you next time. Bye.